Hello, and a very warm welcome or welcome back to my little cottage garden in Cambridgeshire. It's almost the middle of April now, and I get surprised how quickly the garden is changing. There's quite a bit of color now, and there's more to see each day. It's nice to see the little creatures enjoying the garden too. And some not so little ones. It's blossom season. In another week, the apple tree will be covered in pale pink flowers. My crabapple tree is in full bloom now, and I'm obsessed with how beautiful it is. I expected to see more insects visiting it though. I did see a few, but I didn't manage to catch them on camera. The forget me nots are coming out gradually. I have some white ones as well. There's lots of ajuga around the garden, putting up little purple spires. Last autumn, I divided a clump of ajuga into several little pieces and planted them along the sides of the path, and it looks like they're settling in well. Lots of dandelions, their little cheerful yellow flowers. And these are Spanish bluebells. I pull them up every year, but somehow a few of them still find their way back into my garden. My pond keeps filling up with algae. The water is clear enough, but the surface is covered in blanket weed, and I notice that the birds no longer come to bathe here. They seem to prefer the little plastic bird bath on the table. I think there are too many nutrients in the water, and I've ordered some more pond plants which I'm hoping will help to balance out the ecosystem in the pond. But in the meantime, a viewer suggested to try watercress, so I got some to put in the pond. This is ordinary watercress that we would buy in the supermarket and put in a salad. So I've put it in a little pot and suspended it in the pond, and we'll see if it makes a difference. The little pond in a sink is doing okay. I can see a hint of algae on the hornwort, but the water is still fairly clear, although I've had to top it up a couple of times. At the moment, it's in full sun for most of the day, but once the deciduous plants leaf out, it'll be in shade in the mornings, which I think is healthier for the pond. I planted out my sweet peas this weekend. I simply unrolled the cardboard and it gave me a row of little seedlings, each with a nice healthy root system. The cardboard in the second seed snail was disintegrating, so I had to pull off the little seedlings one by one. It was still very easy though. I'm going to put some by the trellis next to my mother's rose. The rose is doing well, but it'll be a couple of years before I can train it properly up the trellis. So I've planted a clematis here, and between the clematis and the sweet peas, there should be something nice to look at while I wait for the rose to grow. I'm really hoping the slugs and snails don't eat my sweet pea seedlings. I don't think sweet peas are a favorite of mollusks, but you never know. I planted the other batch by the fence in the front bed and gave them a piece of an old ladder to climb on. I'm not bothering to water these in as it's going to rain this evening. I was walking past my empty vegetable bed and I noticed that I have little potatoes coming up. These are probably growing from tubers that got left behind when I did my harvest at the end of last year. And this reminded me that I actually have a few potatoes chitting in the house. So it's time to plant them out. These are regular supermarket bought potatoes that didn't get eaten for a few weeks and started to sprout. So I put them out to chit. And I also have some onion sets that I saved when I harvested my onions last year. So I might as well put those in the ground too. There are a lot of twigs on my vegetable bed. I use these as mulch and they help to prevent the cats from digging in my vegetable beds and using it as a toilet. It's a good way to use up some of the prunings that are a bit too woody for the compost pile. And the twigs mostly break down in the course of the year and add some organic matter and nutrients to the soil. Onions are one of my favorite things to grow because they're relatively drought tolerant. They produce these spherical white globe like flowers that are loved by the pollinators. I always leave a few of mine to go to flower each year for the insects. Hopefully, the rain tonight will give these a good water. Inside the house, my tomato seedlings have all germinated. And these are the pepper seedlings I planted about a month ago, looking healthy. It will soon be time to pot these up. I also have lots of runner bean seeds that I saved from last year. I'll probably be sowing these next week along with some sugar snap peas. And that will be all my spring vegetable sowing done. That's all I have to share this weekend. Thank you very much for stopping by to see what's going on in my garden. I thought I might leave you with some footage of the wild garlic and English bluebells in the woods near me where I go for a walk. Enjoy it. Take care and have a lovely week.